This video was brought to you by Manco.store, which is owned by the same people as Manco.trade. This site is essentially an online marketplace where you can buy and sell thousands of Team Fortress 2 items. You can also get your own personalised store where it has an individual link that you can send to people to where they can see all the items you're selling and buying. The link to Manco.store, the marketplace, will be down below. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be talking about things I miss in trading in Team Fortress 2, right? And I was thinking about this a lot and I made a few notes and stuff because I was kind of thinking to myself that I really don't trade anywhere near as much as I used to. You know, back in the day I used to spend hours in trade servers near enough every day and just generally like used to trade a lot, and now I rarely trade at all. And I was just kind of thinking like I miss a lot of aspects of maybe a few years back where I used to trade a lot, and I'm just going to be talking about a few of the aspects that maybe make trading a bit less enjoyable to me now. I'm not saying this is anything wrong with the game or anything wrong with how trading is at the moment. This is just things I look back on as a positive that maybe aren't around anymore. So keep that in mind. Don't think I'm like belittling how trading is at the moment. I'm just literally looking back on things that I used to enjoy and things that I always thought were a positive back in the day. So this is just going to be a few things that I miss about trading. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this first one is earbuds being used as a currency, and I'm sure anyone that used to trade will remember the time that earbuds were a huge thing. Now earbuds come in at around 4 keys on backpack.tf. However, back in the day these things used to be around 30 keys. I remember them being between like 27 to 31 was like the golden period for me, and it just made big trades with like high tier to god tier unusuals a lot easier. So instead of having to trade with like 250 keys, 8 earbuds and pay near enough the exact same, and it was a lot easier to trade. It meant you could hold more value in your backpack if you wanted pure. So let's say for example you wanted loads of pure in your backpack. You were saving up to buy a big unusual, but your backpack could only hold 2,000 keys. For example, it's much easier to hold 2,000 keys in earbuds than it is you know, in keys, because you can actually have other stuff in your backpack. If you want to know why earbuds kind of like fell off and stopped being used as a currency and really crashed in price, then Ben, the virtual economist, made a fantastic video covering everything about it. So I'm sure most of you have seen that, but if you haven't, I will leave it linked down below. But yeah, it just really like, it's interesting to look back on now how earbuds are relatively so undesirable compared to how they used to be. I mean, earbuds are still a great item to have, don't get me wrong, but back in the day earbuds were seen as like a huge item to own, and now it's just another all-class cosmetic. And whilst we're on the topic of pure, I figured I'll obviously talk about the key prices at the moment. Coming in at 44 refined keys, I'm pretty sure are the highest they've ever been, and they're not really showing any signs of dropping, unfortunately. And it's really unfortunate to look back at, because I remember back in the day when I think trading was the most enjoyable for me, keys were around 7 to 8 refined. I think when I started trading they were around 7 refined. And the fact that compared to then they are now literally 7 times as much as they costed, it's really weird to look at, and there are multiple reasons for this. The main reason being that there's no real use in refined. Like, there's not much point in having refined, so there's no real ref sync in the game apart from hack crafting, which always loses you money near enough, and it's not really like beneficial. So no one has any use for their refined, so there's less of a demand for it. There's always going to be demand for keys, you can always cash keys out, etc, but there's not that same demand for refined. So I can only see, unless Valve implements some sort of ref sync, I can only see the key prices going up from here. And it does make it really sad, because if you're starting off trading from nothing, like doing a scrap to unusual for example, all you had to get was up to like 7 refined back in the day, maybe even less than that depending on how far back you're looking. Now you have to get up from 1 scrap to 44 refined to even get that first key, and it just makes it near enough impossible to like start from scratch in comparison to how it used to be. Another aspect of trading that I do miss in Team Fortress 2 is TF2 Outpost, the site. If you don't know what TF2 Outpost was, it was a trading site where you could make listings for items you're selling and items you want to buy, and on the left side would be your items, on the right side would be the items you want. People would then search on TF2 Outpost for items they've got that other people want, and it was just a really nice way of trading and interacting with other traders. So I could have like a unusual team captain. I'd search on TF2 Outpost for people who wanted an unusual team captain and add the people and be like, yo, I've got this, are you interested? And it was just a really nice way of getting in touch with people who wanted to trade and wanted your items that weren't in trade servers and stuff. And I do miss TF2 Outpost a lot, and it's really unfortunate that TF2 Outpost has shut down. And whilst we're speaking about like TF2 Outpost and trade servers, another thing I do miss is trade servers and negotiations with actual people. Now don't get me wrong, I think automated trading is fantastic. The fact that you can instantly buy and sell thousands of Team Fortress 2 items through backpack.tf bots, sites like scrap.tf and manco.trade and various things like that, I think it's fantastic, but it makes trading a lot lazier and a lot harder is an interesting thing to think about. So for example, let's say you started off trading and you got your hands on this 5 refined hat. You go to list it on backpack.tf, there's already 5 bots undercutting each other for it. You instantly have to sell it for less if you want a chance of even selling it. The point I'm trying to make is trading bots are great, but it removes that kind of like aspect of being able to trade lower tier items because there's already 5 bots selling them, 5 bots buying them, and just it makes it a lot more difficult, and it kind of like removes that whole trading from person to person aspect. And whilst it does make it easier to trade, and it does make it much more easy to acquire items you want, it does kind of suck looking back and just remembering like having to add people to buy items and being able to list on backpack.tf without having to worry about bots undercutting you. Now before I was a TF2 YouTuber, I used to be a big TF2 YouTuber watcher, and some of my favourite TF2 YouTubers were trading YouTubers, and that's something I miss about TF2 trading is the old TF2 trading YouTubers. So people like PyroFusion, who used to have fantastic trading series on his channel, people like Strife, who used to make hats galore, made my TF2 experience so much more enjoyable and really kind of molded the channel into what it is today, because I used to look up to those guys as huge inspirations. And it's just crazy to think about that I used to watch these people day in day out, and you know, I speak to Strife semi-regularly. I'm pretty good mates with him. I haven't spoke to PyroFusion in ages. I think he just went off the radar a bit, but either way I have spoke to him, and it's just crazy to like look back on that some of like my biggest inspirations and biggest like people that I was probably the biggest fan of. I used to watch Strife streams. I used to donate to him. I remember I donated level 100 cosmetics to him before. It's just crazy to look back on, man. But yeah, I miss like those Hat Galore videos and the trading series videos that I used to love so much back in the day. Another thing I miss about TF2 trading, and this would be relatively easy to achieve again, but just that initial grind, you know, before you kind of have items that you're happy with and before you properly get into trading, before you make investments and stuff like that, just that initial grind of getting your first key, getting your first item worth, you know, a certain amount, getting your first unusual and stuff. Like the feeling of achieving that and setting yourself the goal of achieving that and buying an unusual, or setting yourself the goal of trading up to a certain amount of keys and actually reaching that, was one of the best feelings I can remember from TF2 trading. You know, used to go in trade servers day in day out to achieve that and see the same people in there every day, kind of recognize them and be like, yo, how are you getting on selling that unusual? Have you still got it? And stuff like that. Like that grind kind of goes more and more as you start trading more and more, because you kind of get everything you want and then you're kind of content with it, you know? There's no need to carry on that grind, and that is something I miss. I do definitely miss that initial grind of setting yourself goals and working towards it. And overall, guys, I think I just miss the challenge of trading. Now it's so easy to just log on to backpack.tf, find an item you want and buy it for pure from a bot. It's so easy to just go on an automated trading site and just pick up the items you want. I just miss that feeling of having to actually work and grind and like have to do a lot and put effort and work into obtain the items you want, you know? But I don't know, I don't disagree with how trading is now. It's just looking back on it, those were like the good old days, you know? And I don't want to be like one of those old people that's like reminiscing about the good old days, but that was probably my favourite time period for Team Fortress 2 trading. But guys, that is just about it for this video. If you did enjoy, then please do remember to leave a like and let me know your thoughts down below, along with any other things you miss about trading in Team Fortress 2, or maybe just things in Team Fortress 2 in general, how the game has changed over the years and some aspects of it that you maybe miss. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Once again, leave a like if you enjoyed, and peace.
Saying down, forget the hate, never open up, cause if you do, that day will be your fate. It's hard when you be coming from your home with no supporters. You'd assume they'd have your back, like the word after a quarter. And I ain't talking football when I say I'm kicking off. It's my chance to show the world that Danny Seth my only boss.